I have this memory. I was 9, maybe 10. I walked up to a house I didn't recognize. It had a long U-shaped driveway. It was a ranch, a dark slanted roof. I made my way to the door with my brother and some friends. I had maybe a pirate costume that year. Whatever it was over a snowsuit because that is what it is like in Rochester, New York on October 31st. Before I knocked on the door, I noticed right there, Mezuzah. They opened the door and gave us candy. I didn't know them. I don't think my parents knew them. But I do remember seeing the Mezuzah. We didn't exchange a knowing glance or do the secret handshake. That's a joke. We don't actually have a secret handshake. But if the youth group would like to develop one, we're happy to institute it by next Rosh Hashanah. I saw the Mezuzah, and I knew this is a Jewish home. The Mezuzah can have that effect. We see it, and we just know. This is a Jewish family. Jewish people live in this house. It's a reminder that I'm not alone, I'm not different. There are other people with this shared history and shared language, maybe even shared values and shared hope. I bet you notice them sometimes too. Maybe when you were house or apartment hunting, you'd see the boxy silhouette on the doorframe, and it just gave you a little sparkle, a sense of the home. It goes on the doorpost, and it declares, here lives a Jewish family. Maybe it lets the passerby feel less alone, or gives a little warm fuzzy of kinship to a trick-or-treater. It rests on the doorpost, and the world sees it. But what about you? How often do you notice your mezuzah? Do you remember which one you put on the front door? Maybe you have one between the kitchen and the dining room. Maybe you placed one about halfway up the door frame of a child's room so they could see it. How often do you notice your own mezuzot? According to our tradition, it's there for a few reasons. Let's take a little journey through Torah, shall we? You have to skip about 6 months in either direction to recall the story, but the very first time the word mezuzah appears in the Torah is during the Exodus from Egypt. Before the 10th plague arrives, before the angel of death weaves its way through Egypt, the Israelites sacrifice a lamb, and Charlton Heston paints its blood on the lintel and on the mezuzot, on the doorposts. The blood is a sign to the angel of death. Here lives a Jewish family. Pass over this home. A sign to the outside world of who lives here. But Rashi, our go-to medieval commentator from the 11th century, he notices something in the text. It says, V'haya hadam lachem leot. And the blood shall be a sign to you, or technically to y'all. This blood is a sign to you. It's not a sign to the angel. It's not a sign to the world outside. It's there for you. Rashi goes so far as to say that because the blood is an ot lachem, a sign to you, it goes on the inside of the home to affect your hearts, to remind you of your history, to invite you into intention, to ask you to be active in working towards redemption. It's a sign and a symbol there for us in trying moments, to remind us of who we are and to call us towards God, towards history, legacy, and aspiration. Our beautifully adorned little boxes, they call us back to that moment. They, the Israelites, they were at the precipice of freedom, waiting, worrying, hoping together. And it's there now for us to give us courage. that we can sustain and prevail through hard moments, and that our investment in our history calls us to empathy and to being sacred partners in the work of moving from degradation and slavery to opportunity and freedom. There are lots of words that Torah could have chosen to put inside the Mezuzah. But Torah instructs us to put in words from Deuteronomy. It says, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Deuteronomy goes on to instruct us, to teach our children, to speak about who we are when we lie down and aspire for who we can be when we rise up. Deuteronomy insists that our values and legacy are constantly on our lips when we walk out the door and when we come back in through the gates. So what happens? What happens when we, metaphorically speaking, ignore our mezuzot? What happens to us as Jews and a Jewish people when we stop noticing, stop engaging in the inquiry, care, conversation, and obligations of our tradition? The mezuzah is there as a constant reminder. Make the kind choice. Act in a manner worthy of your ancestors. Move through the world in a way that charts a path of peace and wholeness for our children. What might it be like if you noticed it? If, like you did when the Torah scrolls paraded through our sacred space, you touched it and kissed your fingers, bringing sacred words and history to your lips. So when we feel adrift, we can come back to this symbol and to those words that are plastered everywhere in Jewish space because our mezuzot make a claim on us, reminding us when we feel lost, overwhelmed, unsure, nervous, or afraid that we have a oneness to rely on, a history to buoy us, and a legacy to give us strength. A mezuzah is there for us as individuals, and it is there as an ot lachem, a sign to all of you, to all of us, as a collective reminder. We're not alone. We move through the world with a community that sustains us in values, work, and aspiration. How fortunate are we? How fortunate to have these gifts of intention and direction. We live in the midst of what feels like perpetual chaos. And our rituals and our tradition, they can give us safe harbor, something steady to reach out for when we feel unmoored. And just as Torah could have selected any number of words inspiring enough to go in the mezuzah, there's so much we need to say right now. So much we need to address. Friends, as we sit here together on this Rosh Hashanah, maybe you feel like the ground beneath your feet isn't steady. This year has been marred by political violence, divisive rhetoric, censorship, vindictive policy decisions geared at scoring political points rather than ensuring the collective good, military might and intimidation turned inward towards citizens, dismantling of social safety nets, and the undermining of science, research, and inquiry. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. Freely spoken hatred is a daily reality, and on and on and on and on. It just feels hard. Perhaps America needs a talisman we can turn to, a sacred object of charm and fortune, something that could steady us in a hard moment, something that might remind us of our history, invite us into intention, and ask us to be active participants in working toward our future. Perhaps we can look to America's doorpost. Perhaps the mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is imprisoned lightning, her name, Mother of Exiles. Perhaps she is America's Mezuzah. Statue of Liberty is the iconic symbol of American welcoming and aspiration. Sitting just miles away in New York Harbor, she was, for decades, a mythological symbol to immigrants coming across the Atlantic, a light and a life house beckoning the promise and potential of America. And now we know the mezuzah isn't for those outside the home. It's a reminder to those of us already inside of what we inherit and whom we are called to be. The French sculptor, Auguste Bartholdi, who created the monument, named it Liberty Enlightening the World. The vision was of a universal message, one that would transcend particular ideologies, would stand above liberalism and conservatism, would soar beyond burgeoning revolution and turmoil. France would provide the statue, and the United States would provide the pedestal upon which liberty would stand. Emma Lazarus, a poet, powerful progressive voice, activist, and Jew of Sephardi descent, was busy spending her time supporting Jewish refugees fleeing anti-Semitic Europe. But eventually, she was cajoled and convinced into writing a poem that was emblazoned in bronze at the statue's base. The poem, titled The New Colossus, has become part of the American canon and is a critical identifying marker for our nation's values and identity. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, she cries. With silent lips, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Emma Lazarus is a worthy figure for us to turn to in this moment as American Jews. She was deeply rooted in her Americanism, and she was deeply committed to her Jewish heritage. She opens the poem with an allusion to Devorah, a champion of the Israelites in the book of Judges. Lazarus writes, a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. Devorah, the judge and prophetess, is called Eshet Lapidot, the torch-bearing woman. She opposes tyranny and judges her people in fairness, bringing light to the land. This is the character that Lazarus calls on. The woman whose flame is imprisoned lightning and whose name is Mother of Exiles, deeply American and deeply Jewish, calling on American values of freedom and liberty, and calling on the Jewish story of immigration, oppression, opportunity, and obligation. But it's those last few lines, the ones that Irving Berlin set to music that maybe you also sang in middle school, that have become iconic in American culture. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. These words, they are an ot lachem. These words are the inward-facing sign reminding us of what America is when it's at its best. A nation that welcomes in and cares for the downtrodden and dejected. Surely, vulnerable populations ought to know that this country could be a safe haven, but we may need that message more than they do. In July, Congress passed H.R. 1, alongside cutting about $186 billion in SNAP benefits, essentially food stamps and much else, for the next 10 years. The legislation, signed on July 4th, allocated $46.5 billion for the continued construction of a border wall. That money is to be spent by 2029, with billions more to hire ICE agents and build ICE facilities. our country is making a significant investment in a new talisman at our doorpost, one that counters the mother of exiles. And I know that media has moved on to newer, hotter topics, but I can't shake the question. What kind of mezuzah is a wall? I don't know the efficacy of a wall, but I know the message it's trying to send to those seeking refuge and opportunity in America. And more than that, I wonder, what does it do to those of us who live inside the house, on the other side of the wall? What does it tell us about our history? What values or aspirations for communal identity does it offer? What does it suggest is the work of the nation who puts that at its doorposts? What do we teach our children? What do we speak about when we lie down or when we rise up? How does this affect the stories we tell about ourselves and the way we share our history? What behavior and policy decisions does it invite? And how does it change the character of those who live inside? Walls are part of our history. As Americans and Jews, walls, barriers, quotas doomed many of our families to remain in Europe. We were the undesirables, not welcomed within the gates. Lazarus worked to break down walls. Jewish communities welcomed, and congregations like Kol Ami continue to welcome refugees. We built the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, the world's oldest refugee organization, lighting the path forward for future immigrants and refugees, Jewish and non-Jewish alike. We carry torches that give light to nations. We are the people of light, not the people of walls. How easy it can be for us to turn internally, to ignore those who have come here seeking refuge from persecution and degradation. How much simpler would it be if we were to reject America's legacy of care and support for oppressed peoples? Our American mezuzah is there in New York Harbor to remind us of who we are called to be. I'm concerned about the trajectory that we're on right now. National empathy is waning. Rhetoric across the spectrum seems to reward cruelty, and vindictiveness and performed incredulity are power. Is this our legacy? States rush to give alliterative and punny names to detention centers. Alligator Alcatraz? The Speedway Slammer? Human beings are being pulled from the streets and from their places of work, outside of classrooms and courthouses, and the places built to incarcerate them on a speedy pathway towards deportation are named as memes. No wonder ICE agents can round up people with impunity because of the language they speak or their presumed origin. It's a game. It's a game played for clicks, tweets, and reels. And it is a deeply sorrowful and troubling inversion of the values and trust upon which this nation stands. There is surely need for reasoned, thoughtful policy discussions about immigration. But the aggression and inhumanity that have become the hallmark of ICE and the associated incarcerations and deportations are a distortion of the values and legacy that we hold ourselves to. Our mezuzah makes a claim on us. It reminds us of who we are called to be. Our discourse is strengthened by our care towards other human beings. Whether it is the love we exhibit with all our hearts, with all our soul, or with all our might, or if it is the light we carry and the legacy of welcoming and care for the most vulnerable among us, our empathy is our strength. Empathy, the core of the Passover story and the Seder experience. Empathy, the steady undercurrent and core philosophy of our tradition. we abandon it at our peril. This year, America will turn 250 years old, and the statue, a youthful 140. What will we be celebrating this July? What wishes will we make as we blow out the candles or ooh and ah the fireworks? Maybe we'll leave the torch lit. Let's leave the torch lit. Let's bring words of Torah to our lips. And let's pass through our gates with love, care, and welcoming embrace. L'shana malei chesed v'rachamim v'shalom. May this be a year with kindness, compassion, and peace. L'shana tova. May this be a good year.
If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. I see sorrow, trouble in this land. I see sorrow, trouble in this land. Although there will be struggle, we'll make the change we can. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment, place and time again. If not now, tell me when. I may never see the promised land. I may never see the promised land. And yet we'll take the journey and we'll walk it hand in hand. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. We'll work it till it's done. Every daughter, every son, and every soul that's ever longed for something better, something brighter. And it will take a change of heart for this to mend. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. But miracles do happen every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. And miracles do happen every shining now and then. If not now, tell